You are up.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are back in session, and time for a quick budget discussion. Commissioner Bullock, you have something?
I do. Probably over the last 2 or 3 months, we've wore the budget out and with a lot of due diligence. And since we have passed the budget for year 2026, I've been out trying to figure out if there is a way that we can mitigate some of the immediate effect on some of the people that our budget discussion had. And with that in mind, I have presented a document for considering today that would actually, in talking with our county clerk and his office staff, we have identified $91,000 that could come out of, I don't want to use the word leftovers, but undispersed funds out of this year that will help maybe take care of some of the immediate needs of some of our charities and nonprofits. My discussion is, I think this is discretionary income or discretionary payments from any county. We are obligated, as I stated before, to pay certain things. We have to. Out of some of the funds that we have, they are discretionary. And I feel like this year, if we do have that extra, which it looks like we're going to, that I would propose that we, under the schedule propose in front of you, get that $91,000 and have those particular organizations give us an invoice for the amount that's on that list and make check payment before the end of this year so it does not affect
the end of the month.
Or the end of the month, excuse me. And actually at the end of the year, our fiscal year. So my proposal is having visited with each one of these and looking at their financials, looking at the state that they are in, I think we can help them now, but with the promise that next year we will do a lot better job of visiting about these numbers and making sure they're justified and not put anybody in financial distress that they would unduly, I guess, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Commissioner Moser?
I'm just reading what you guys have here, this one line. It should be noted that this is not intended to be ongoing. It is a one-time payment. And then I'd just like to read what you've got here, if that's okay. So out of the 2025 budget, your motion or your idea is to go with Mother Infant Care and add $10,000. For the Pocatello Free Clinic, add an additional $10,000. For the Senior Center, add an additional $10,000. For South Bannock County Historical Museum, add an additional $6,000. Portland Valley Economic Development, add an additional $20,000. Aid for Friends, add an additional $30,000. And Health West, add an additional $5,000 for a total of $91,000 coming out of the 2025 budget.
And we'll pay that out of expenditures from county operations.
It'll come out of county operations.
And each of these entities that you mentioned will have to invoice us prior to the 22nd of this month in order to receive their payment in time. So they're going to need to be.
We will notify them.
We'll have to notify
immediately,
and they'll have to invoice.
Now the onus is on them. That if they don't get us the invoice at that time, there's just nothing we can do. But that's, I think, working through this fix. I think I would make the. I don't know if you want the motion. Or you want somebody else to make the motion?
Nope, I'll take it. It's your proposal.
You did a lot of work. I have really appreciated visiting with many of these directors and the board members. I'm trying to work with them to solve some of the future problems, not just throw a bucket of cold water on them. So with that, I would make the motion, Mr. Chairman, that we, with the amounts that we notice up to $91,000, to be issued as quickly as possible to help them out in this year's budget.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any further discussion? I'd just like to say that, again, like the analogy I used the other day, sometimes it's nice to have instant replay. And so this allows us to correct a call that we might have got wrong. So with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Misty, why don't you come up real quick and then I'll get out of here. I'll leave this with you and you can just shovel it that way. This is in regards to our lady that is in tax, or ready for tax deed.
Yes. Do you want me to do the parcel? And Misty Katzlamidas, Chief Deputy Treasurer. And yeah, this is in regards to parcel RPR PSTC 0000300.
Okay?
So you gave her a 30-day extension to get some funds to pay taxes for the 2021 taxes. That was not fulfilled. I reached out to her several times, did not hear from her. She did contact your office though.
Yes.
So she's asking for another extension.
So here's what I would propose, that we give her until October 1st and we begin the, taking it as of October 1st. Theoretically, she already has a loan in process. That gives her till the end of the month to provide us documentation. If not, then I think we've been more than fair. So that is my
I agree.
recommendation, gentlemen.
And I honestly disagree with that. This is the fourth time, and we give her the 90 days and we give her 30 days. She thought that this was supposed to happen on Tuesday. She called and says, no, I can't make it. She called today and says, no, I can't make it. She isn't taking it serious. So, I mean, 2 weeks, I mean, that's what you're giving her. But so I could probably do that, but I'm done.
And I don't disagree, but if she's got, because theoretically, if we started the process, we could have it in our possession by next week, right? It'd take about a week.
I mean, I can write up the document today.
How fast could we do it?
I can have it done today if that's what you choose to do. I don't know if the process of,
Well, that's why I said,
Legally.
if we kind of said October 1st, we're filing the paperwork,
yeah, I can have it ready to go.
then we're done.
First.
I'm a little softy today.
I'm just at the point. Like I said, if she doesn't think it's important enough to come to this meeting or the one that she thought was Tuesday because she said she was busy, I mean,
True.
this is very important to me. I mean, when it's the third and fourth time that you're meeting to keep your house,
Well, again, we're not in the business of taking people's houses, and I don't really want to be the one to do that, but I'm giving her one last straw. Commissioner Bullock?
You know, I think what I would, a hybrid between the two of them, I think we need to start the action, but not physically, I mean, do all the preparation, starting today. And then if it doesn't automatically happen on October 1st, everything goes through.
And I'm okay with that.
She does
You
have a
know, because-
14-month right of redemption too after that she can
Yeah,
come
and
back
she,
in.
it's not like we're gonna take it immediately, but I think, here again, trying to be fair, trying to treat everybody else, I think we need to start the process. But come October 1, if nothing has changed, then we go ahead and let the execution happen.
Okay. And to be clear, we're not.
Well,
gonna-
executing the actions of the documents, is what I'm
And
trying to say.
we are not going to waive anything at
Well, at this point,
that time. I just want to make sure that's.
I would just soon
nothing's
move
waived.
forward as if that, where it is, but knowing that we won't finish it, not use that other word, come October 1, it's automatic.
My other
and I
concern
like
was.
that simply
Sorry.
because if we change it into Bannock County's name and she's trying to get a loan, the property would be in Bannock County's name.
Right. So, and that was my only concern, is if she does have that loan going, that we would mess that up. So I totally agree with that as well. So if we said start the paperwork, but we will not finish it until our first meeting in October, which we'll put that on the calendar right now, so that as of that first meeting in October, we take it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know, are you able to just say on October 1st, tax deed is taken, and then I just go down and have it recorded on October 1st?
Jonathan?
Yeah.
Or do we have to come back in?
I think so.
No, you made the decision here, as long as
Yeah.
there's a motion clarifying that.
Okay.
Make the decision, we can execute that.
With that, I'll make that motion. Did you get that, Nancy? Don't use the word execute. So, And that way, if it really is truly in a process somewhere, we'll allow that. That also puts, if the bank's the problem, then they better get fired up and make sure it happens, because otherwise, they're gonna have to start all over again.
All right, so we have a motion. Are you okay with the parcel number and everything? You got all that? Okay. So we have a motion to start the paperwork today and execute, complete the process on October 1st. Any further discussion?
This has been going on for over 4 years.
Correct.
But it's not just the last 120 days.
Correct.
This is over 4 years worth of
Yep.
action and work by the treasurer's office.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And with that, I'll ask to be excused, and appreciate everybody for your help today.
Well, Daniel, looks like you're up.
See you.
Thank you.
Morning. Dan Kendall, Facilities Director. I'm here to ask for some help. We have a couple of things that came up with the YDC project that I think you guys could give me some guidance on. As the parking lot's starting to go in up there, we have a couple of issues. The fairgrounds uses a dirt lane next to the new building, just to the west of it, and creates a major dust storm through there. That dirt up there is powdery. It's hard to keep it in place, and then on the other side of the building, we have an issue where the parking lot tying into the existing landscape, plus we have some new transformers and equipment over there so on either side, I would love to pave a service road that attaches to Fairgrounds Road, and I think it doesn't have to be very long. I think one on each side of the building would resolve both issues. Like I say, the one side would be dust control, and the other side's more of a safety issue and a maintenance issue. But I'm here to ask for some help. I would love for Road and Bridge to do it for me. It does attach onto Fairgrounds Road. I would call it a service road on either side, because that's basically what it is with the fairgrounds equipment and people just constantly on it. So that's why I'm here today.
So I went up there Monday and looked all this over, come back and talked to Jonathan, talked to Christie, and I believe that we're gonna be under budget on this project. And even talking to, yesterday I was in a meeting with the contractor, and we're gonna be under budget. And those two projects, we're building a brand new building, and the one entrance is out into that dusty road and stuff. And so I think that, and I've talked with Kyle, had him up there and looked at it too. We're gonna be paving Fairgrounds Road anyway. And so we're gonna have our people in that area. So I think it'd be a worthwhile project.
And within the important thing for me is if it's in the scope of statutorily something that Road and Bridge can do. And I think that where it's kind of an addition to Fairgrounds Road more than, it's not like it's a parking lot necessarily, it's an extension of the road.
And that's why I come and
Do you
talk
feel that's
to legal.
appropriate?
Yeah, I feel that's appropriate. I do.
So,
And I agree. The one thing I wanted to, because there's going to be a lot of traffic going back to that YNDC, that Youth Development Center building, and the pavement would just make that cleaner year-round.
Yeah.
So I agree. How many feet are you talking? Yards, or, I mean, how many?
the length of the building.
At least to the backside,
Just to the back side of the
Okay.
building would be great, yeah.
on both sides?
Yeah,
The one side already will have parking lot,
Yeah,
and then the other side, just tie it in.
okay.
When I was talking to him yesterday, there was conversation about having the parking lot and moving the gutter and stuff, but I want to talk to the YDC people, because they want an area to wash off their bikes and some stuff, maybe a little bit of grass in the very back there still would be handy. But my concern is, you put a little patch of grass, you still got to water, you got to mow, you got to do all the maintenance, so we need to talk to them and see what's the best avenue for that.
Do we have any issues with drain water?
I think this
I mean, when
helps-
you pave all of that, all of a sudden, you're gonna have rainstorms gonna hit that. Do we know where all that's gonna be channeled?
Yeah, they are actually installing a culvert to get the water under the, would be a new
Okay.
access on that west side.
Yep.
And I think it helps on the east side because we have such a drop off. It's outside of the scope of work that the engineer did for the building. And you ended up with a 2 foot or more drop off, straight drop off from that side. So we gotta do something or else that mud's gonna be in the parking lot.
Well, and it's gonna go right across that road.
Mhm.
So I think we're well within our scope and
Yeah.
work to actually, for the good of everybody up there, to pave that road back.
Yeah.
Whatever's possible
Yeah.
past that building.
And in doing this, like I said, Road and Bridge is gonna be there anyway, but I don't wanna hold up the contractor in any way of completing the project there. But if they know what we're doing, they'll kind of work with us maybe in some of the groundwork.
Okay, works for me.
Okay, thank you.
We'll move forward with
So-
that then.
That internet down in that event center stinks.
Okay,
I mean, I know you've got it wired, everything, the fiber's there. Is it the provider?
the building itself?
Your building, I couldn't get any coverage when I was sitting down there inside the building. And are we gonna put any kind of a router in there or, you
Yeah.
know, tie it? But anyway,
I'll find out.
and we were talking that even
Yeah.
around the fair, they couldn't hardly talk to each other because the internet service was terrible.
At Downey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I agree. It's,
So if you can come up with a solution, we'd all love it. But
yeah,
we just approved $12,000 for the fiber going into there.
Yeah.
Today.
We got a marvelous
Or we will.
thing, but we don't have, we can't use it. So
Yeah.
just as a point, I'm
We-
reinforcing, let's find some way to make that work.
yeah, when we bid that out, we had another company come in that we don't normally use and that didn't work. But
Yeah, I don't know.
we'll fix it. There is fiber there and we will fix it.
So
Yeah.
just, anyway,
Yeah, I agree. That
And-
was terrible.
from the fair board, they still extended a very big thank you, you know, there's still a lot. And I did talk to them about, don't get in a hurry to do anything down here right now. We still got lots of issues to work with as far as utilizing the building and everything else, so.
And I did turn in the last invoice for that building today and we were
Okay.
100,000 under where we thought we would be, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay,
So we can fix the internet.
I'll fix that internet.
All I know is, when we put that kind of money into that
Yeah.
kind of a building,
Oh,
and it's useless,
it was a nightmare the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Just, we'll get it fixed.
okay?
Okay.
And that wasn't to rag on you or anything
Oh,
else,
yeah.
just more of a report that
No,
it's frustration.
She called the first day and said it didn't work, and I called the people to go take care of her, and I didn't hear anything else about it. And then after the fair, found out it never did get working properly, so
Okay.
that's not right. We need to get that fixed.
Right, okay,
Yeah. Okay.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Wes, looks like you're up next.
Wes Jones, Bannock County Office of Emergency Management. And what we're passing around is our worksheets, and these are the things that I work from because we have so many different projects across the board and we interface with so many different agencies. But what I wanted to do is go down through and you'll see what we have highlighted in yellow. So we made the move over to Southeast Iowa Council of Governments on the 1st of September. And our next big activity or item of timeline or timeliness is going to be the burn ban. So it's scheduled to come off the 1st of October, but I want to reach out to the fire districts and fire departments to see if they want to extend that, even though the Forest Service and BLM and everybody else pulled back their fire restrictions. We'll find out what the fire districts and their fire commissioners and everybody else want to do. So if we can extend it, we will, or if they don't want to, we can just terminate it the 1st of October. The Bannock County Sheriff's app, and that's one that we implemented in June, and we're providing additional information and updates for references, for documentation, as well as notification. So last Friday when McCammon had their boil order, we helped McCammon make notifications out to the community. And what we did is we used AlertSense, and that's the notification system that we use for the entire county, and we've used that for several years. But with AlertSense, we can go in and geofence a specific area. So we just geofenced the city of McCammon and those that would be impacted. We made that notification to there. The second area is through this app in which we could put notifications in there. So if you have that app, you'll get weather updates and everything else. We have the ability to provide immediate notifications through that app and notifications out to the community. So that's two separate sources. Mayor Hall was also using social media to keep the community apprised of what was going on prior to, and then when they did have the boil order coming into effect. So we had three different methods right there. The fourth method that was implemented was the door-to-door activity. And so back in the first of 2025, Sheriff Manu and I went around to all of the cities in South County and tried to work with them and start putting in place Map Your Neighborhood programs that's being initiated by neighborhoods in the communities themselves. And so it's those volunteers that we can utilize for these types of events. But we want to find out how well that process worked across the board for all the notifications, and then using the door-to-door notification and door hangers and everything else. So we'll have that critique on Tuesday at 1400 hours in McCammon. And you're welcome to come in and sit in on that as well.
That emergency preparedness group, is that who you're meeting with then? Also, I mean,
Yeah, so Mayor Hall will be there, Tony, Alex, a representative from dispatch probably. Let's see, and then the other two things for this month, we have the ISU Emergency Preparedness Fair on September 20th, and that's put on by AmeriCorps at ISU, and it might be the last year that AmeriCorps does that based upon funding restrictions and everything else in the future. So I highly recommend spending some time and swinging by ISU and seeing what's going on. We've also got the Alameda Preparedness Fair, which is on September 27th, and I think this is probably the third year that we've also participated in that one. The Community Wildfire Preparedness Plan is the document that we've put together in conjunction with our federal partners. So with that Community Wildfire Preparedness Plan, what we want to try to do is identify those areas of projects for hazard mitigation or fuel reduction, and so we can create that invisible barrier that's going to restrict and confine fire in those high fire zone areas. And so collectively between BLM, the Forest Service, IDL, the fire departments, the fire districts, even the University of Idaho Extension Office, we're working and creating that. So our CWPP is going to be a standalone document. The last two things that we need to incorporate in there are the evacuation zones. So we've had the fire districts and the fire departments identifying how they would actually evacuate their fire district in those areas, and we can incorporate those into the plan. The thing to keep in mind with these pre-identified evacuation routes and zones, those completely go out the window during an incident because the situation is going to dictate the routes of travel and where they're going to go, and that decision will be made by the incident commander, which is probably going to be a fire department fire chief at that point in time. So the one thing is on the evacuation plans we want to put in the CWPP, as well as we're going to include those wildland fire ordinances and the things that we have in place to support those operations. And it's coming together. A lot of people that have reviewed it really like it. And the other big thing that I'm excited about is we're working with a partnership with ISU and Keith Weber and their GIS program at ISU. So we can put together not only a wildland fire map that includes wildland urban interface areas, the fire districts, but we're also wanting to put in different layers in there for emergency management needs and functions. So earlier this spring, we had to provide some information out of state police for the critical infrastructure. And if we have a separate layer on that map, we can include those things for the critical infrastructure. We can have another layer in there for that map for the tier 2 facilities and high hazard facilities. And it's nice to have ISU on board to help us with this, because we don't have the resources, and Heather's great to work with, but she's overwhelmed with a lot of different things. But we can create a map that's standard, and then we can make that available to everybody that needs it. Let's see, one of the things we started back in 2020 was wildland fire detection cameras. So the first one that we put up was on Chinese Peak. Once we started doing that, Idaho Power reached out to us for a partnership, and so we've been working with Idaho Power in the state of Idaho and Idaho Department of Lands. And what we're looking at doing is putting some of those cameras at the different tower locations. So not only for the communication towers that we use for radios, because they're high on the mountaintops, but we can also take a look at those lower elevations for like the communication towers for Verizon, FirstNet, etc. And depending upon that location, we can put a fire camera, a detection system up there. So we've got one at Chinese Peak. The next one is Sedgwick, and we're working in unison with Caribou County to put that one in place. And then the third one will be Kinport when we take ownership and operation of that one. Ham radios. The ham radio operation aspect is secondary, and it's a backup to the current systems that we have. So the big push that we've got for interoperable communication, and that's pretty much driven by the Idaho Public Safety Communications Commission, and what we have is a local group, which is we call the Digby 5. And from there, what we're trying to work towards is that ability for that redundancy, not only with our vendors, but the ability to go worst case scenario, and that's where our ham radio operators come into play. So the RACES program and the ARES program for the ham radio operation, there's one thing that we're going to start looking towards, and that's going to be a ham radio LEPSI, and that'll be on the first and third Thursday of every month. And Adam's a ham radio guru now, and he loves that, so that's something that he said, I want to do that, let me get tied in. Plus it helps him keep his certifications up, and then we get that information out to the communities. For drills, the other day we had a VOAD, the Voluntary Organizations Acting in Disaster. We had a tabletop drill for inclement weather conditions in Idaho Falls at the Student Union Building for Idaho State University, and we had representatives coming in from all of those nonprofit organizations and those groups that provide support and assistance to us during emergencies for the volunteer groups. So we had American Red Cross there, we had representation from Idaho State University, the Agency on Aging, Association of Aging, we had the Nonprofit Alliance, Idaho National Lab was there. There's a couple others, and I can't remember. But the major scope and purpose is to identify those resources that are available to provide sheltering needs, food, and additional services as in manpower capabilities. And so with those groups, we talked about what was needed and understanding how the requests would come in and how those requests would be filled from the county perspective, from the EOC, or it goes back to the VOAD and we request additional support and assistance in these areas. And it worked out really well. On the 17th, we will be doing the triannual Pocatello Regional Airport drill. I can't go into great details on that because it's sensitive and classified, and I'd have to execute you if I shared that information with you.
We've talked about that.
We don't need to execute anything.
But I think it's going to be a good event. We've got a lot of the key players working on that, and we'll have a planning meeting later this afternoon for that. But it'll be a good opportunity to go down through that. And it's going to be exciting on how that rolls out. What you see there next is a list of the training courses that I'm going to be requesting that we conduct here in Bannock County. A lot of them are specific to the first response elements and public safety departments. Some are also tied into operations with our partners specific to cybersecurity. So like every year we have the cybersecurity conference that the Idaho Office of Emergency Management hosts, and we have the Idaho Association of Counties participate in that. And a lot of those things, lots of good information, but we don't do a really good job of getting that back in the hands of the people that actually utilize it. So that gives us the opportunity to bring it back to the departments within the county and the staff, as well as the cities and the community at large in different aspects too.
Those bottom two right there, after yesterday's event, I think we need to move them up on our priority list.
The special event risk management and planning.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've talked to Commissioner Huff about those, and that's two of the things that we're working towards. One of the things I'm looking at is, so Eastern Idaho State Fair does special event planning, and Idaho State University does a special event planning to coincide with their football games and everything else. And so what I want to try to do is use the template that's very similar in concept between the two and put together something that we need that's going to fit our needs for the event center and the fair board down in Downey and anything else that comes up. So that's going to be on the near horizon, I should say. And then after we do a lot of the training for cybersecurity, we'll be putting together some of those tabletops. The tabletops that we did previously, in which we pulled representatives from our federal partners as well as city, county, and the nonprofit agencies, was very well received. So we had standing room only on the previous 4 that we did in the last 2 years. So we want to try to resurrect those based upon the needs and what's actually going on. And so the support that we provided, well, let's like Portneuf when they had their issue, when they had the cybersecurity incident, and the support that we provided back to them was timely and beneficial. But that's also something that we could put as a reference to provide support and assistance to anybody else in the future, so they know who I can go to, what I can get, and then how we can help and support them in that regard. Questions?
Go forth.
Yes, sir.
Hope this isn't a quiz, because I wouldn't know all your acronyms if I had to. So anyway, I think like everything else, we've got to be vigilant now, whether we're schools, whether we're events, we have no idea what we could be contending with. So,
Yes, sir.
Riding the bus.
yeah. So anyway, thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Melissa?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Proclamation?
Proclamation.
Need to read it?
You want to read it?
Okay.
You guys tell me how you want to do it. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we'd love to make it worthwhile of your time being here.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Why don't you come up here though, so that they can see you on,
They can see her on that camera.
can they see you on that camera?
And put
Okay.
flags up all day long.
Okay.
Can I just do it from here? Would that be okay?
That'd be fine.
All right. Good morning, Melissa Hartman with Bannock County Veteran Services. Today asking the commissioners to sign a proclamation for September 11th, Patriots Day. And it reads, whereas on September 11th, 2001, the American people endured the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil in the nation's history with courage and heroism. And whereas in response to this tragedy, Americans across the country came together in a remarkable spirit of patriotism and unity, carrying out countless acts of bravery, kindness, generosity, and compassion. And whereas community organizations and family members of 9/11 victims began observing the anniversary of September 11th to honor the memory of those who were lost and those who united in response to the tragedy, including first responders and volunteers. And whereas those who put their lives in harm's way on a daily basis to protect our citizens are deeply appreciated. And whereas 24 years ago today, first responders found themselves in the front lines of war. And whereas first responders and volunteers sacrifice and service every day for our community, keeping us all safe and secure. And whereas on September 11th, 2025, we embrace an opportunity to honor 9/11 victims and heroes on behalf of our community. And whereas Bannock County residents are encouraged to embrace each day with unity and kindness of September 12th, 2001. Now, therefore, we, the Bannock County Commissioners, Jeff Huff, Ernie Moser, and Ken Bullock, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2025 as Patriots Day in Bannock County, and we call our citizens' attention to this observance and appropriate ceremonies in honor of the lives of those lost through the remembrance and celebration of their dedication to our country. In witness whereof, we hereby set our hands on this 11th day of September in the year 2025. Then it's requesting signatures from Jeff Huff, Ernie Moser, and Kim Bullock, Commissioners of Bannock County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And to
you.
go along with that, we are having the activity
Yes.
at 5:30 this evening.
Yes, so Bannock County Veteran Services has annually, for gosh, probably the last 10 years, I want to say, held a 9/11 remembrance and commemoration. And the ladies from the auxiliary, the VSO auxiliaries here in town have sponsored a dinner, a community dinner, and the community is invited to come to that. That would be including our elected officials. The memorial building is open in the bottom, and they are going about business as usual. So you're welcome to come to that, and that'll be following directly after the program here on the front steps.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd go ahead and make a motion that we sign and approve the proclamation for Patriots Day, September 11, 2025. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Melissa, thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thank
your
you.
attention. Appreciate your support.
I just know he'll want to sign it.
Yeah, because it was passed on the record.
Jeff can sign it later.
Jeff can sign it later.
He's emceeing that program tonight, I believe. Kyle?
Morning, Kyle Brewster, Public Works Director. I'd say you saved the best to last, but there's been some pretty neat things going on today, so. I'm here for an update for Public Works. trying to hurry and go through it. We got a lot of stuff going on. As you know, from Emma Poston, we've got the fuel system. We worked with them to try to make it as smooth as possible with everybody getting fuel. They did a great job, got it all in, and we are done with it now. So hopefully we're gonna have a system that works pretty good and got updated parts of it. So moving along with that, and paving.
So what are all the total places you have that you can dispense fuel?
So we actually have countywide, we have 4 locations. 2 of them are set up just for that department, which is landfill and the event center.
Okay.
And then we have 2 locations that anybody can fill up at, Pocatello or McCammon. And for the ones that everybody's using, we updated McCammon's earlier this year. We were thinking we were a year or so off of updating Pocatello's, but it started to act up on us, and so we got that updated now. So we should be pretty up to date on most of the fuel components.
So just in case your main one right there was shut down, the sheriff's department can go up to the landfill or event center?
We'd have to change
least
some things
emergency.
right now, because on them ones, we have their vehicles so that they can't, just so we don't get mixed up with
Okay.
stuff.
On the card?
We could adjust that to anybody could go anywhere.
Just in case something happened to
And that wouldn't be a hard thing
there.
to
or
adjust.
Even in the remodeling that we have out there, are we gonna do anything different to the fuel system if we build on out there in your compound out there?
No.
Shouldn't affect anything there
No.
with fuel. Okay.
Not supposed to.
Yeah, that's what I would, nothing is supposed to ever go wrong, but if we needed emergency vehicles fueled up, our alternatives is either the event center or the landfill, or, you know, you'd have to go commercial, and I don't wanna go that way, but that's why
Yeah.
I'm just curious about a redundancy, what it would
And we can
take.
we can set that up any which way that the keys will work. That's a pretty quick
Okay,
adjustment. We just had that so that we weren't mixing up stuff. Because like right now, I think road and bridge and landfill can go kind of back and forth between them two, because some stuff they have to come fueled. They don't have gasoline or unleaded at the landfill, so they come fuel there. So there's that set up. It's just that we didn't know if we wanted to try to keep track of who was going to the event center or something like that. But if we had to in a situation like that, we could adjust that.
in your programming?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that wouldn't be a very,
Okay.
because they're all satellited into our main.
It'd be interesting to have you look whenever you get a chance, just to see what it would take, the process of, under an emergency, you know, for the
Have
sheriff's
that.
department or somebody that needed to go get some fuel.
Somewhere else, yeah, in that case, because it's not really thought about until something goes down. Kind of just like when we first said that the fuel was gonna be down till Friday, it got a lot of people worried. So I made sure, because that's kind of what was told them at first, because we didn't know for sure, but we got that kind of figured out, and they said, oh no, we can take care of you. I was talking to Wes today about, because I know that Commissioner Bullock, or Moser, has been asking about some of the generators. I was talking to Wes today a little bit about if there was a large scale, something went on, like emergency vehicles and everything, it'd be good to have fuel, whether it was even if we had to bill it out to a fire department or something, but you could get your emergency services keep going with them. Them generators we've had them looked at and stuff, and the 2 bigger ones we got from the hospital, I mean, they're meant to run half of Pocatello. They're just not very cost effective for us to use. We do have one smaller one that we did get from Chubbuck, but that might be a good thing to look at, maybe in McCammon or somewhere like that. But we are kind of working on what we could utilize, what we need to get rid of, or what we might need to purchase or get a grant for, or something like that for like the shop.
I think we probably should have looked a little more in depth at the one we got rid of out of the sheriff's office, maybe, but we didn't. And so I was talking to Buddy the other day, and we have 3 generators there that are just in that lean-to, haven't been utilized forever. So I told Buddy, see if the cities have a desire for them, then they can do whatever they want with them. I mean, another government entity we can just give them to. And then let's see what we need to do, maybe to hook one up to fuel.
Because we even looked at, do we need that big a one? So I was kind of talking with some of the electricians that we have work for us here and there on how big would we need to just turn the lights on and the fuel pumps. You know, because you can get a house one that can run quite a bit. So do you want all the maintenance of this huge thing or not? You know, because do we necessarily have to run all of everything? So we're looking into a few different ways that way too. But yeah, Buddy's working on that to, if he finds something out with that, he's doing some more investigative work on that to bring to you on what we should do with what we have right now.
Cool.
Our road and bridge is paving away. It's kind of like a race to the finish line for budget year, and this is some of our biggest money we spend is paving roads in a small amount of time. We did save a little bit of money. It's hard to be a year in advance on all of these oils and asphalts and everything. Luckily, we did get our asphalt at the same price we paid last year. So what I estimate trying to do it a year in advance, that saved us some money. So we've saved almost $200,000. Part of that I was going to use for the addition of some safety features to what was talked about with Fairgrounds Road. So Fairgrounds Road has had some issues with water on where it intersects with Venture Way. And puddling, different things. And then we also have a pedestrian walk that ends at nowhere. So some of the things we're looking at doing, and we should be getting into it in a week. Just in over a week, is figuring out and changing. And we kind of went up and looked at it with Scott, and setting that path back a little bit, having a crosswalk across Fairgrounds, and then having a bike path or a walkway on the side of that road from Venture all the way down all of Fairgrounds. Kind of just to try to make that more safe for everything. We have a lot of people up there, concerts, stuff like that, when they're crossing the street, as they use some of them parking spots we have. And I'll just fix that all up and putting in a turn lane. But that's all just kind of a safety maintenance, and we had a little bit, like I say, saving on asphalt this year, so that'd be the time to try to get it done.
You've been talking with the city of Pocatello too. The state on Venture Way ended that sidewalk, 150 feet from the corner. Just dropped it, 'cause that's all the farther the state would go. So it's just a
So yeah,
dead end.
talking with the city, because we looked at it and we're like, I don't know why did they do that? So it ends and then it's gravel or dirt. Talking with the city, that's the reason why. And then since that is their road jurisdiction, we're gonna visit with them and see if we can come up with a way that we get it all connected and have it safe, because you do have a lot of people that come from up Chubby Road to get to our facilities. So I think that'll make it a lot better, a lot safer. But we'll be working on that.
One side of the road, they stopped about 150 feet, and the other one about 120 feet. They had to decide.
Yeah, it's a little, and part of what they'd be looking at also, seeing what budget and where they're at with things is to get a crossover also across. So to connect on the south side of Venture Way, but then also to get across to it, to all of them units that they have, all of their rentals or lease units, and there's a lot of people that, so they can get across easier.
A lot of them walk their dog, come out of there and use our pathways.
Yeah,
down there.
and right now, all of that housing right there is got no sidewalk along Venture in front of it. So they have to either kind of walk down their streets and there's a crossing farther up by Olympus, or they have to just jet across the street to get to it. So we're gonna try to come up with something that's safe for them all and kind of work with them on that.
Cool.
I think that'll help out a lot. We're done with our road paint, besides what we're paving right now. So right now they have 2 miles that they're paving on Portneuf, right there from Fairgrounds down to Black Rock. There's a section of road there that was needing it. And they got one little road over by Income, and then they'll be to Fairgrounds. But that will be the only Fairgrounds, and Portneuf will be the only ones we'll have to paint when we're done. But everything else out there is painted. That got done well. We had a little bit of flash flooding in Income. We did some cleanup. We'll come back in when we get done with paving and do some more cleanup. Some of them higher residential areas, kind of, one of the residents said he's lived there for 20 years and never seen it come down that hard and that fast. But we had a little bit of culvert get plugged and some washing and stuff like that, but got it kind of.
So on that, they put in, what, 12-inch culverts? And we need what? I mean, what do we need to change in our building, in our plating? that
Well,
we get the right size culvert?
we did, and that got missed. In ours, it's no less than 18. And the person that reviewed that at that time didn't catch that, I guess, and so they put 12s. So you can put a 12 in a personal driveway, but they even put 12s under some of the road. So we're looking at fixing some of them problems that we shouldn't really have to be, but we're gonna have to fix them with some larger pipes. So we're looking at, there's probably about 3 or 4 pipes we're gonna have to replace or change to be able to maintain that hilly country. When it snows, melts, and everything like that, it's a little different than down in Chubbuck. It runs pretty fast. But
Is there anything we could do into the bar pits that will slow it down?
they tried like little catch dams and wattles and different things like that. We've been trying a little bit of the bigger rock. The only thing that I can see that we can do is a larger riprap rock, so it won't wash it, because it'll just take that 3/4 and smaller stuff and just wash it right out.
Put it in your culvert.
Yeah,
All that stuff, the mud and everything that's gonna come down is gonna hit them culverts.
I can't say that you haven't seen it in 20 years, because before the LDS church was put in there, that 4th of July, that
Oh, yeah.
Vinkin, I mean, that all come off that hill.
Yeah. That rapid creek's always
It flooded the whole town.
floods all over the place.
yeah, so there's some stuff we're looking at. We're also looking at, talking Income Way, looking at more pavement, maybe on Bonneville with some of the subdivisions that are looking to come in and stuff to, like off the top of Jackson Creek, connect that so that there's more routes. Looking at, is the road can handle more subdivisions, more traffic. There's a bridge down at the bottom of Inman Jackson Creek. It's actually, I looked into it more, and it's not on the state, so if you're not spanning more than 20 feet, it's not considered a bridge for state to inspect and get monies for and stuff like that. So right now I've been visiting with them to see what if you want to take something from that's not classified as a bridge and get it to that point. Can we get some help for that, or is it all on us to do that remodel of it? And then I found that in 2011, I was looking through our stuff, and we do have an engineered drawings and stream flows and everything for that, for a replacement. So we did some work already on it. But one thing that that me and Ernie talked about was more pedestrian people, you know, and people walking, biking, stuff like that. But in that plan, it showed it as wider for the traffic and for the people. So that's something we're kind of looking into, see what we can do there. Try to get funding if we can, and if not, then we'll have to go from there and see what we can do.
Talking about bridges, we drove out to the one out on the reservation. And it's not our, it's on the reservation. I mean, plain and simple. And those roads, they're not that heavily traveled. There's farm fields on both sides, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. I don't know, wasn't a big priority going and looking at it. I mean, I'd hate somebody to get hit or hurt or something, but a lot of it's out of our hands.
And we have paved that road, and we'll come back in as soon as we're done paving. That'll probably be in October. We're gonna put the better shoulders on it for if somebody's walking and stuff like that. With all our other roads we're shouldering, but we'll make sure that gets a little extra.
I drove out there the other day, and went over that bridge. I knew where it was at, but I drove around several of those roads out there and never saw one dump truck. I must have been at the wrong time, and there wasn't hardly any traffic.
It's sporadic.
Yeah, so-
They had something that they were hauling in, and that was for the other side that actually is going, that they're just stockpiling some stuff, and that's in the that spot. So I mean,
Yeah, because I drove several streets around there just to see the traffic, and marvelous roads you guys have finished out there. It looks great. But again, I don't know how we can't totally redo everything. We're trying to maintain them is as big a challenge as we've got. So,
yeah.
so
And that's the other thing, when I was out there with Kyle, Bannock County is the only county that goes and does roads on the reservation.
Yeah, if you look at all our neighboring counties, Power, Bingham, they do not do anything on reservation.
we ought to have a visit with those other counties and just see what they've got in place and what dialogue they've had. And
Well, I'm kind of interested to see
Yeah.
what the responsibility is. I mean, we get credit for them, we get paid by the state, right?
Yeah.
But
so,
is it worth the money for the responsibilities? I mean,
Well, and one thing you gotta look at also is, as we're building and getting more and more subdivisions, you could save that money on, if we're doing them more in the county and have less roads somewhere else, then we don't have to build our resources as fast.
and I still think we need to have a good dialogue with Fort Hall. Not just
I do.
with the
I do.
road, yeah, with the roads and that bridge. I think they're a good neighbor. We just need to see if there is some.
Yeah, and that bridge
Which
is one of
direction we
the things
put-
that kind of brought that up on who's doing what, because I would have thought it was Power County, and then found out that they don't touch anything. I knew Bingham didn't, but I didn't know Power did also.
Might have to have some visits.
But, yeah, and I don't know how that came to pass on what we're maintaining. Working with Shanda, I've got a lot going on there, She's got her salt out to bid. Buddy's working with her for fleet vehicles. We're looking at a couple options, whether we do a source well or piggyback off of somebody, or maybe even go out to bid ourselves for some of these vehicles that are available. Something gonna work out a few different ways. Storage building, which is the new building that would go on our third level at the, so for the master plan. I'm starting to work with her on the specifics of that building. It would be just a metal shed. We would do some doors and maybe some floors on half of it or some of it for different items like parts or signage or something like that. Or weed and mosquito storage. So we're started working on that. The
cleanup that they did up there looked good. I mean, the before picture and the after picture.
Oh, did you
I saw
see
them.
that?
Yep.
Yeah, I
Great
mean,
job.
we've had a lot of baby boomers, you know, and they went through times when they had to keep everything, and we were running out of room. So we've really been trying to see what we can clean up, straighten up, what do we even have a use for and stuff like that. But, you know, as you've seen, the Buddy comes in with a lot of stuff that we need to dispose of. But no, it's looking really good, and it will work out perfect because we've made that extra room for that building there. But part of the master plan was that we start working on that shed up above so that we can get that installed to be able to demo the other out of the way. So the other part to that would be working, whether that's Daniel and Hal and whatever, on the specifics of the two buildings, Public Works and the coroners, throughout the winter to see what we want to build them out of and stuff to get them built. But, talking about the buildings, I don't know where, talking with Commissioner Huff and Hal's, he came to me and visited a couple times with the floodplain thing issue at the landfill. He was saying that one of the things that they could do in this permit or get this corrected is get the chemical out. With Wes moving out, we would have a couple rooms available for mosquito and weed, and we have storage for their chemical, whether it's temporary until the new building or whatever's been done. But we could, in our little bit of off time here, we could work on getting that out if you guys would like. We did think of one other thing while we were looking at that is when you were out, Jason, we were talking about the voting stuff and having it in more of a confined area to where dust wise and stuff like that. And we're looking at maybe Bowley Barn or something up on third level or anything. Maybe one temporary thing we could look at is if we move that chemical out, that's a completely locked, clean environment area that we could put our voting in also for now or for until you want to do anything different. And it's just kind of that little room that I'm talking about. It's inside of that bigger barn right there at the landfill office. There's one inside there that's got a bay door, so you can do your pallets in there, and a man door, but it's all sealed and locked. So some things to think about.
We probably need to have a meeting and talk about all these things, so, because we're involving the other, I mean, they're your departments, but other departments, and I want their input and stuff as we talk about where, what, and how.
But there is some opportunities there to, if we need to. We do have, where the voting is right now, we have 2 heated bays. And in the winter, we use them more for like one of the graders or a truck. But for now, we don't have to have them in there, them 2 pieces, so we can utilize that for something else if we need to. Because we're going to be kind of jumbling everything around a little bit as we're building and
We'll kind of just put a white sheet together on what you're thinking about, and then let's have a conversation. I think it would be the best deal.
Okay. Oh, on stoplight, just a heads up, the stoplight there at the school, we've put out more signage. We've been having trouble with that. The state's actually, ITD's been helping us a lot with, because they work with a lot of lights, and that's our only one in the county. And that's the one over to the seminary building. So we put some extra signs up because it's just flashing right now, but we've had trouble with it just going red, and the components inside are getting outdated. We lucked out and the state had a bunch of old ones when they updated all their lights that are the same as ours. And so they had a couple that they would just let us have, and so they were actually putting them in right now today, and so we should have that back up. We did look at different options, so we don't, these are old used materials that we put in, but it's going to make it work. But we looked into a bunch of different options, whether we do the deals like by ISU and just do something like that, flashing. They're $10,000 a piece, so that they're not, and they come with their own maintenance. So we were looking at what way to go, and then we finally found that we could update our whole panel inside there for that light for $8,000, around $8,000. So I don't think we're gonna do it right now, but that'll be something that, just a heads up, that's about what it's gonna cost to make that light keep working.
So does the school district or the LDS Church have anything to, do they participate in any of that?
The school district has nothing to do with it, and I need to still see, I'm curious who's paying the power, because we're not. So I would suggest it was the LDS for the seminary
That's
building.
interesting.
But yeah, we went and contacted the school about it and stuff, and they said, well, that's nothing to do with us. But I still don't know who's paying the power for the light, but.
Maybe we don't want to investigate.
Don't turn over that rock.
So I don't know, I don't know when they did that whole change and did that update to the South Fifth out there and made all that, that was a few years back. Why necessarily we needed a full-blown street light and everything like that, because the speed is actually slowed down, so it is a 4-lane, 45-mile-an-hour road, but in that school zone, you've still slowed down. So I don't know exactly why they decided to engineer it that way, but it's been working fine. If we can do an update to it that works, we haven't had a lot of maintenance for it. And like I say, somebody's paying the power. I'd suggest if we had to do some fix to it, I would just put the new components inside of the electronic box to just leave it the way it is, because them aren't very easy to dismantle and get out of there too, and all of that part. But something that maybe it'll run for a while now. I don't know, but just a heads up on that. West Nile Mosquito Department there, we had the one case there in McCammon area that we were seeing hot spots, and they just doubled up on everything and really went after it. I've talked to a lot of the residents around there. They said that they've hardly seen a mosquito. I said, well, we're fogging it like every night. So he really hit it hard, and Dana did, and so I think we're good there. All the numbers have dropped, everything's, and I think some of that's weather related, but it's cooling off now. But I think we've made it through there we haven't heard of any cases of anybody getting West Nile, so I think we made her through this summer. I know a lot of the surrounding counties had a lot of cases of it going on, so I think we did pretty good on trying to keep it
Now we're getting emails because you're fogging.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't keep everybody happy, but we're trying. Weed department and mosquito department, right now, we're working hard on doing year-end billing, inventory, getting ready for that end of year, that kind of stuff. Mosquitoes got fogging, they'll keep fogging till the end of this week. Weed has been doing, working on their billing inventory and some spot spraying, and all their seasonals are gone for the year. And last, grooming, we're looking at adding a cutoff section, adding a little section to the Inman area, because there's such big loops. But it's hard for our groomer, fuel-wise and everything, to make some of them, so we've looked at a different route that you could cut in between, so you could cut them into smaller sections. So working with the Forest Service, that wouldn't be much to add that onto our schedule. I just didn't want it, we're still looking into it and talking with the Snowmobile Council on, I only want to do it if it saves us time. I don't want to add anything, but we're kind of looking at that. And then also working with Matthew on some of our release forms for some of the snowmobile groups and stuff like that that go and do markings and some trimming in the fall. So, but things are going pretty good. We're getting lots of volunteers. We've actually got a lot more this year that are wanting to be involved for helping with cleaning trails and getting things marked good. And that's all volunteer work. We don't do any of that.
So would that be our volunteers or Forest Service? I mean,
Well-
we're just trails and we're doing our part.
So, working with the Forest Service, I guess it's quite the ordeal. They have to be trained in chainsaws, they have to be trained in all these things, so they're like, I don't know how it's even possible. So we're just having them that they're volunteering for the grooming department, not for the Forest Service, because ours is a lot less. So I didn't want, if you get volunteers that want to help and stuff, we couldn't see a way to get them going through this Forest Service. We could make it a lot less liability issue if we just do a release form with them, because we wouldn't have to have all the training that they have to have for Forest Service. So unless you want to do something different, that's kind of the direction we went. They said that they were good with it and having them come through them, but when we seen that, it was.
We had Alan review the waivers, so.
I'm just saying, it isn't our ground. We're a contractor for the Forest Service ourselves. So
So
a liability for the county, I don't see where it is in any way. I mean.
So we're hoping that we can have it that they have a good enough release that the county's not liable. They're volunteering to go out and do some cleaning, and because the problem we have there too is they're going out in side-by-sides, UTVs, ATVs, chainsaws, quite a bit of things. So
And hopefully not drinking, but that's my point is, when they go out as a snowmobile group, fine, they can drink, they can do whatever. But if they're, as a volunteer organization for us, no volunteers on county properties come and have alcohol.
yeah, and we're not monitoring any of that.
And that's,
But each individual that participates signs a waiver, that's my understanding.
okay.
We're okay.
All right, you know where I was looking.
I do, I got it.
Well, yeah.
Well, and they're great people, and let's go have some fun, let's take the four-wheelers and enjoy the day.
Yeah. So like I say, we're we kinda had a slump in anybody wanting to help, and now we've got some groups out of Downey and for the Cottonwood area and different things like that hasn't been there in the past, and so it's been pretty nice. We did find out one thing we have a kind of a parking issue at the Cottonwood down there, but that's the independent district that does the roads. They do plow past where we try to park or where the snowmobilers even try to park. There is some Bannock County ground there, but it was like for an old road. So I've talked to the property owners around there, and they're like, yeah. And it's like 9 acres or something, because it goes clear through their property of like a 50-foot right-of-way. But it is more of like a right-of-way, so I don't know if that would be, I'd love if that person would like to get that out of the middle of their property and do a trade to have a couple acres along the side of the road for the groomer to park or snowmobile, but that's,
Maybe we need to bring them in and talk about an exchange.
yeah, so I don't know what,
We might run into
Wanna
the same
do
thing
there.
Simplot did.
But again, they're a different highway district.
yeah, and so I thought it was just a county parcel, and I haven't really asked
Yeah.
John yet on anything like
I
that.
assume they're plowing the road, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're doing all the maintenance out there, and I thought it was just a parcel out through the field, but it's actually a right of way, so that would still fall under them. But I'm gonna visit with that district and see, cause they're good with plowing the road, and even if there was a little bit of a pull-off parking that it would be minimal for them to grab a little, push the snow out, because it's helping them, because everybody's parking on the side of the road that they're trying to maintain. But just kind of starting that, working that, seeing what kind of angles we got to make that a little better for everybody. But
How often you meet with that district?
1-2 times a year. We call once in a while, but like actually get together, it's a couple times a year. We'll be with them here in another month at our road conference. But yeah, it might be something that they might want to come in and do. But before you guys cause if it's a right of way. Maybe do a little swap for some right of way here to some right of way there, maybe. But everything else, we're getting all the agreements and trying to get everything else going with the grooming, so we should be getting pretty prepped for winter. But sorry, long, but you got any?
It's a lot of work.
Huh?
It's a lot of work.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but
Well, I can't say it out loud, but somebody else was shorter. I'll get in trouble. I keep getting in trouble, things I say here.
We'll just keep everything under a single comma. I noticed all the numbers for the headlight or the lights, or everything's got commas in it. Boy, nothing's cheap anymore.
yeah.
Even that.
I mean,
single
just
light
like
out
the
there.
fuel for the fix there and the little bit of an update was 18,000, so.
Everything's got commas in it, so.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
That leaves us with our claims agenda, and in the claims agenda, we have the commissioner's report, some claims, and alcohol licenses. Any comments, questions?
I didn't see anything. I'd make motion, we go ahead and pay all of the items on the claims agenda, on the consent agenda.
And I will say that this one is, I think, the final payment for the copier over at the Public Defenders, and we'll be through with that contract, hopefully. All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.